Let's start with a situation that sounds simple until you're in it. You've been sentenced. The trial was flawed. The decision was unjust. The punishment is death. And your friend shows up with a plan. Money is ready. Guards can be bribed. You can escape tonight. No consequences. No prison. No execution. You just walk away. So the question is, do you stay and die or escape and live? The setup: Socrates in prison. This is the situation in Plato's Crito. Socrates has been sentenced to death by Athens. His friend Crito visits him in prison and says, "Let's go. We can get you out. This is madness. You don't have to die for this." From a modern perspective, this seems obvious. The system failed you. The law was unjust. You owe it nothing. Leave. But Socrates doesn't leave. And his reason is not emotional, it's philosophical. The first principle: never do wrong, even if wronged. Socrates starts with a rule: one must never do wrong, even in return for wrong. Pause there. This already goes against instinct. Most people think, if someone wrongs me, I can respond in kind. Socrates says no. You don't get to become unjust because someone else was unjust. So escaping prison isn't just about survival. It's about whether escaping would be wrong. What counts as wrong? Now it gets serious. Socrates asks, is breaking the law wrong? Not, is the law wrong? But is breaking it wrong? Because those are not the same question. Most people collapse them. If the law is unjust, breaking it is justified. Socrates doesn't accept that immediately. He digs deeper. The laws as a voice. Plato does something brilliant here. He personifies the laws. He imagines them speaking to Socrates. We raised you. We educated you. We gave you structure, protection, identity. You lived under us your entire life. And now, when it doesn't suit you, you want to break us. This is not a threat. It's a challenge. The social contract, before it was cool. Socrates is basically laying down an early version of what we now call the social contract. The idea is, if you choose to live in a society, you are agreeing implicitly to its rules, even if you don't like them, even if they hurt you. And Socrates pushes it further. You weren't forced to stay in Athens. You could have left. You chose to remain. So by staying, you accepted the system. This is where most people disagree. Let's be honest. This is the moment where most modern people say, yeah, no, that's nonsense. Because we believe you don't owe loyalty to a system that is unjust. You don't owe obedience to laws that harm you. You don't owe your life to a structure that failed you. And that tension is exactly why Crito still matters. Socrates' real fear isn't death. Socrates isn't afraid of dying. He's afraid of corrupting his own principles. Because for him, living unjustly is worse than dying justly. That's a completely different value system. Most people prioritize survival. Socrates prioritizes consistency. My previous episodes matter here. Let's connect this to what I've already taught. You don't have free will, but you have free choice. Your morality isn't universal. Your beliefs are conditioned. Logic doesn't change minds. Now this. What do you do when your principles cost you your life? The hidden question in Crito. This isn't really about prison. It's about this. Are your principles conditional or absolute? Do they apply only when convenient, only when safe, only when rewarded, or do they hold when you lose, you suffer, you die? Most people never face this question seriously because most people never have to. The fragmented self returns. Now let's layer your perspective in. Inside Socrates, there are multiple selves. The survival self, leave, live. This is unfair. The social self, people will judge your death. The rational self, evaluate the argument. The principled self, do not act unjustly. Most people would let the survival self win. Socrates doesn't. He lets the principled self override everything else. That's not normal. Let's be clear. That is not normal human behavior. That is philosophical extremity. And Plato knows that. He's not saying everyone should do this. He's asking, what does it mean to live consistently with your values? So, was Socrates right? This is where you don't give an easy answer, because there isn't one. If you agree with Socrates, you're saying law must be preserved. Structure matters more than individual outcome. Principles override survival. If you disagree, you're saying unjust systems don't deserve obedience. Morality can override law. Survival can justify disobedience. Both positions have consequences. Modern version of this problem. Translate this to today. Whistleblowers breaking the law to expose truth. Protesters violating rules for justice. Citizens resisting unjust governments. Individuals ignoring systems that harm them. Every one of these cases is a Crito problem. Why this still matters? Because this question never goes away. When is it right to disobey the system that shapes you? Not emotionally, not reactively, philosophically. You are always inside a system. Legal, social, cultural. You didn't choose it, but you operate within it. So your choices are always obey, reform, resist, leave, but you don't get to pretend you're outside it. You don't get to claim principles and then abandon them when they cost you something. But you also don't get to worship systems just because they exist. So the real question isn't, should you obey the law? It's, what do you owe the system that made you? And what do you owe yourself? Socrates chose to die consistent. Most people choose to live compromised. The question is, which one are you?